Good day, everyone. Yesterday's call was with Mark Polzin. This morning's is with Jessica Caviglia, who also got disqualified from the DEKA race, this time for not putting the ram down correctly. Mark's was number of reps. This one was, so we had two DQs for two different reasons. Let's talk to Jess about hers. I have heard from Yancy. You may have seen online, he sadly had a family member pass away, and now he's working at another Spartan event, but he did say he would reach out to me soon. So let's get to Jess. Away we go. Let's start there. What did you think of the chat I had with Mark? Was your experience similar?
Yes, I could agree with him in the feeling of the burpees because initially, basically when I got disqualified, I had no idea. After the race was done, I was laying on the ground for about 20 minutes right near the end line. I was so mad at myself for losing in those final 5 seconds. You can see my body when I'm burping, like falling over. I'm tripping. I barely have any control. So I can agree with him in that feeling where you just feel like you're basically drunk trying to lift that thing above your head. My arms were giving out. So I was laying at the line, and I finally got up and asked my husband. I was like, "Can you go see what my time was?" So he went over to the table, and they said he didn't see my name on the list, and he asked where my name was, and they're like, "Oh, she's disqualified."
This was right after the race?
About 20 minutes, 20, 25 minutes. I could not get up. And so he went after 25 minutes later. No one had come up to me. No one had said anything to me. I'm still in my head thinking, like, I'm so angry that I just lost first place. And then he's like, "You need to get up right now. They said you're disqualified. Like, let's go figure out what happened." No one could tell us why I was disqualified. And then finally they called over Nelson, who was the race director. And they basically pulled out the rule book, showed me the video, said I dropped my burp or the ram, and that I was disqualified. And from there, we had a good back and forth for about 20 minutes. Me with my arguments, listening to him kind of rattle on about the rule book. I can go into more detail about that, but that was when I found out that I was disqualified.
I would love to hear. I would love to be more specific about what.
Yeah. So
again, as you heard me say with Mark, the only place I saw it was around timing chip. Now, what Anthony, my buddy Anthony, the hybrid engine, pointed out is there's a long way around to it, which is if they don't count a rep, then technically you didn't finish the station. And if you didn't finish the station, then you're DQ'd, which is.
Yeah, that didn't happen. So they never no repped me or anything. So that was my first argument. I said, okay, so if it was a no rep or I did not place the ram down correctly, why did my judge not come over to me while I was still laying at the finish line and say, "Hey, come back, do your one rep"? Because we've seen that in high rocks before where the girl, runs through the line after her wall balls and they're like, "Hey, you still have 5 wall balls, come back and do it again." So that was my first argument of what was the point of the judge if they didn't no rep me? And he said, that judge was trying to protect himself from the ram burpee falling. So it was not his job to come get me. Even though, like I said, I was laying there for 20 minutes. So that was pretty upsetting because what's the reason of having judges if they're not going to no rep you or call you? So there was never an instance of a no rep. You can see him get to 20, and that's when I ran. I completely take responsibility for dropping the ram down. Like I said, had no control of my body at that point. I thought that she was still next to me. I thought I still had a chance to win.
You were aware of this rule, which they have, I know, put effort into mentioning.
Yes, I'm aware not to throw anything. But if you read the rule book, it says the ram needs to be in the exact orientation it was when it was picked up. So that means straight up and down because the ram is placed straight up and down at the beginning. So if we're going to go by the rule book, it says the orientation.
Let's just deal with you, though. We got to just deal with you from now on.
Yeah. But I'm
like when I talk to my son and he's like,
I know.
What? Right. So like,
and I've never been someone to nitpick.
Right. And so my job is to make sure everybody gets a fair shake. Right.
Yeah.
Even though we're all pretty mad at DEKA, including me, like, let's get your side. Let's get their side. So for the record, I haven't said this yet, but Nelson and, like they're letting Yancy come out first, which I get it. Right. Like it's Yancy's thing. Yancy sadly had a death in the family, but he's messaged me, "Hey, we'll definitely talk. We want to get this rule straightened out." So, it's like I asked my first question for Mark. What did you think of those burpees? Right? Because we all
Yeah.
know they weren't great. So let's go
Yes.
with you. Because
Yes.
again, I know last year it had come up. Hey, this is a safety thing. Next year it's going to be different. We've got to be better. And so as I've said multiple times, even though I've never gone for a podium, when I'm at home, when I'm dying, I still stop and put it down because I know that's what it's going to be like at the race.
For sure. And that makes 100% sense. And on the safety aspect of it, my only other question was if, like I said, I've never nitpicked a race before. I've never had to go back and watch anything. And now that this is opening up to this, it's kind of made me do that. So let's say in the farmer's carry, if you go back and watch the race, people are chucking those 40-pound dumbbells.
I know. Again, I don't think that's good. Like I said,
No.
when I'm at home, I place them down. It's really hard because your fucking
Yes.
arms are dead, and
Yes.
you're pretty much going to failure to make it to the end. But that's your job as an athlete, is to be conscious, be safe, all those things.
Yes. So that's what my reason. I'm like, why are we being so critical on station 10? But when people are dropping an 80-pound dumbbell in the middle of the race course on station 5 or whatever it is, 6 for farmer's carry, there's no debate about that. So, anyways, that's to the side. I won't even bring that up. But my other argument too to the judge was I've raced before. When I raced last year in Anaheim, the top 4 girls were going, and one had missed a complete lap. And in the middle of the race, Yancy and the other people went back, watched the video, saw she missed the lap, and then told her, you need to run another lap. So they corrected it on the course right there. So my judge had the opportunity to say, hey, that was not a good burpee. You didn't put the ram down right. Can you come back and do it? Even a minute penalty, I'm still in second place. So I was laying there. I had plenty of time to go back. So all that to say, go ahead. What were you going to say?
You told me you were talking to Yancy. I was praying he was going to say, we've changed it from a DQ to a minute. That's what I was praying would happen. But that's not what happened when you talked to Yancy, right?
No, he was very, very kind, very nice, easy to talk to. Again, I felt horrible that he had to be at a funeral. In the grand scheme of things, this race is so small to the loss of a family. I did not want to bring this up to him right now, but I know this has to be done in a timely manner to even make any type of revisions. So he was understanding. He said, yes, there are things in the rule book that can be, ambiguous and how this was dealt with. And also, you look at professional sports, like you said yesterday, you don't get DQ'd for anything unless it is drugs or it's something crazy or you're trying to injure another person intentionally. So personally, I feel like I'm being made an example because I'm not this huge name in the hybrid world. This was
We can't even say your last name, Jessica. I mean, what's her name?
Caviglia. It's a silent G. Yeah. Caviglia. Blame it on my husband, who was not my.
Do you know Camilla Massa?
Yes, and I can appreciate her Italian. She can say my last name, I'm sure.
Do you know Luca Lorenzoni?
Yeah, maybe I should just have them announce my name when I come out from now on. But yes, I am not known in this world. I am no spring chicken. This might have been one of the only races I am going to podium on. I'm a mother of 4. I'm not getting out to all these races. Yes. And so that's why it is so heartbreaking. When I talked to Yancy yesterday, he said, I would never take a podium away from anyone, but they took my podium. So, it's frustrating, and I get that there's rules, and I understand the safety issue, and I wish if I could go back in that second, I would drop it down nicely. So I understand that was my bad. I take full responsibility for that. But I think, and here's the perfect example. Like I sent you that screenshot. Robert Killian, the beginning of the season in Knoxville, same incident. His penalty, 5 seconds. 5 seconds, not a DQ. And that's in their DEKA leaderboard. It's there. Anyone can look it up. He raced in Knoxville. So I brought that up to Yancy.
So I want to be specific because Kevin/Bubbles Gregory, King of the Air Bike, sent me the same thing. So I want to be exact. So we're comparing apples to apples. What happened in that? Was it the same zone?
Yes, you can look. I think I sent you the screenshot. You can look at the zone and it says drop ram burpee from like waist down. So did not set it down. And he got a 5-second penalty.
So not even a minute, which is what I was thinking they were going to give you.
Yes. So that's what I was trying to tell my judge even after, or not my judge, the race manager, Nelson.
So what did Yancy say to that?
He said that was kind of a decision they made on the fly. and that looking back on it, maybe it should have been a 25 to 30-second penalty, which I can still understand. But what I said to him after that was, you're opening yourself up to a lot of controversy if you're starting the season with this penalty, using me as a DQ, and maybe meeting somewhere in the middle for later on. So they can take that what they want. But I thought that was ironclad proof. Like, this is how you handled it. You have to handle it this way from going on forward.
But if his response was, well, first of all, made it on the fly. Yes, that's your job. That's what sports is. 2, yes, we got it wrong. We should have made it 30 seconds or a minute. Okay. So then where does that leave us for poor Jess and Mark?
Yeah, exactly.
So why wouldn't yours be 30 seconds or a minute?
Exactly. I know he has to talk to his team. And again, he was very compassionate and understanding and nice when he was talking to me. We had a good discussion. He was open to everything I had to say. But he said he had to take it all back to his team to discuss this.
Well, this is the sad truth. Hate to say it. Hate to say it. This is a Spartan product.
Yeah.
This is what you get with a Spartan product. You get not enough staff, underpaid staff, and people doing 10 jobs at once. And you had said in your message to me that like it did not seem like a smooth process at the time.
No, and I get it. These are volunteers, but if we're going to let them be the judges, then let them be the judges.
Right, but there's another level above them, okay?
Yeah.
Above a volunteer called a race director. Then you've got above that person called Yancy. I've said many times Yancy shouldn't be out there counting reps. Like, how can he do that when he's the head judge? When shouldn't even be the head judge. He should be able to oversee the head judge if the head judge is not doing their job. But just there's another layer. So they had an opportunity to fix it on site, and they still could come back and change it to a minute, and people would be thrilled, and we'd all move on. If they don't, then everything's going to be compared to this. And
it opens them up for nitpicking. Like I said, like everyone's going to go back and look at these videos.
Right. And it feels just like Spartan, who also changed rules to their liking as they saw fit. And so we never got a clear answer, and athletes were frustrated and never trusted the process.
And for me, like I said, I'm a mother of 4. Traveling across the country to do another one of these races to try to get a time to maybe even qualify for Worlds is very difficult and expensive for me. Like, this was my race. I know my time is not going to be in the top 15, but at least it's a time on the leaderboard. I went to Worlds last year through the roll down, so at least I had a time. Now I don't even have anything.
Right.
So, it's disheartening. And it's like, why would I go spend $1,000 to fly to Texas or wherever it is to do another race when I could potentially just get screwed all over again?
That's what I'm saying. And Mark's in a similar position, right? It just turns people off to trust of the system. And again, I hate to say it, but I've just been around too long, and it's just so frustrating. And if no one had grabbed Kate to tell her she missed a rep, by the way, they wouldn't then go back and watch some video and then change her time. Like, it happened to be that their judges were good and fixed the situation. But even if they hadn't, and like somebody went back and watched a video, it would be like she shorted a rep. It would be like, okay, well, the ref didn't tell her she shorted a ref, and nobody told her, so you've got to count it. You know what I'm saying? Well, it always falls in the volunteer. Always.
Has anyone ever been DQ'd in DEKA history that you know of in an elite race? That's my other question.
No, but again, it's sometimes Spartan would give a 10-minute penalty, sometimes a DQ. This guy came in second in a race, and they said, "Oh, you skipped the obstacle because you went around the tape." Mm-hmm. Except, I'm sorry, you went around the water, but inside the tape. And it's like, well, whose fault is that? So again, it just feels like Spartan. It's a Spartan product. And
like what you guys said yesterday about if you skip a whole station and go to another station, it's a minute penalty, or if you miss a lap, it's a minute or so penalty. But I literally, the very last second of my race, did not place my ram down correctly, and I get completely DQ'd in the very last second. It wasn't a rep. It wasn't anything else. It was completely not putting my ram down correctly, So I don't know. I just like, why would I work so hard for that? So it's just frustrating.
Well, I mean, I'm going to have this conversation with Yancy at some point, But if the answer is always going to be safety, it's like it doesn't change anything. Like,
Yeah,
okay, you're right, but a minute penalty or 30-second penalty still teaches that lesson. She's not going to do that
exactly.
again, right?
Yeah. Or yeah, make the punishment or the crime fit the punishment or whatever that saying is. A full DQ sounds insane. But yeah, because when I was talking to Jack Bauer, he even like broke it down. Let's divide your burpees by 20 and then add that, or an average split. So 10, 15, 30-second penalty. 5 second may be too lenient, but at least a 30-second penalty. I'm still
Well,
in second place.
expecting them to do the math on your burpees would be fucking
No,
asking for
no,
miracles.
no.
But that's how
But
Jack.
average.
That's how Jack thinks. So I get it. But
But the
yeah,
reasoning behind why it should be, a
I
20 to
think
30
I
second
think
penalty.
way more than five. Five is not enough because five is like, well, I can get this penalty and still survive it, right? So,
Yes, yeah,
but so a minute, 30 seconds or a minute is a lot better because then it's like, whoa, this really hurt me, but I'm not DQ'd. And
yeah. And
like
I
I
still
said,
have a time.
the stench of the DQ is not sort of on you. And like you said, it makes you not even want to show up and race again.
No, never. Like I don't want to be treated like this. So yeah, and again, I don't want to nitpick everything. And I went back and watched the race and saw so many inconsistencies, and I'm not going to bring them all up, but it's hard that we're only focusing on that very last station to be so critical.
I'm really surprised he didn't. When you said I'm talking to Yancy there today, I didn't want to say anything on the text, but in my mind I was like, well, surely he's going to fix this.
And that's why I wanted to talk to him first before I talked to you. And I told him, I'm like, I'm going to be talking to Matt. I have nothing bad to say about you or how you have been talking to me, but I feel like I'm just being made an example of. Like I'm not one of the top 10 hybrid racers, like if one of them had done this, would we be having this conversation? Hopefully so. Hopefully everyone would be treated equally, but in my head that's how I feel. And who knows? That's just how I took it. And I just don't like being made the example for this. I don't know. Maybe I said too much, but that's just how I felt in all of this.
You can never say too much.
Okay.
No, and somebody messaged me yesterday and said like, well, they always give you, at least they always give you something to talk about. It's like, I honestly don't want to spend my Sunday doing that. Like
Yeah.
I love bringing people news and information. I love talking to people. I like my job, right?
Yeah.
But I don't want it to be over this stuff. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, that's what my husband and I have been talking about. Like, I should be so angry at myself for losing that race in the last 5 seconds. And instead, I'm just angry. I don't even have a time. Like, this is not something I should be having to deal with. So it is what it is, I guess. But I'm hoping they can at least see a fitting penalty for this instead of a complete DQ.
All right. Well, it's not over, right? Like there's still, it's possible. Like I said, maybe
Yeah.
I know they have him at another event now. And again, we all feel, he posted a picture of his brother today and
Like I said,
yeah, it's
horrible. And
Um,
I didn't want to bring this up. It's so minuscule compared to that.
what are you,
So
so what do you do normally? What are you doing the rest of the day?
I coach F45 in the morning. Just got back from that. I'm a personal trainer, and like I said, I have 4 mini little terrorists running around that I got to get to school in about 20 minutes. So
How
we'll see
how
how
old
that
are
goes.
they?
3, 5, 7, and 8. So lots of kids. Yeah.
It's my 15, my son's 15th birthday.
Oh wow.
Um, when you start having kids, um, you forget that like, oh, when they're 15, I'll be 52. Like you forget that's going to happen.
Yeah.
So
But that's why I've loved this hybrid racing world too, because it's like brought me something again to have on my own and to compete and to look forward to. So I appreciate what you do. I appreciate the platform. I appreciate coming out here and being able to say my story. It's just so like heartbreaking we only have so many minutes in the day to get stuff done with kids and everything else and to train. So it's just heartbreaking to get this taken away when I worked so hard for it.
what was do you have like a collegiate background or a sports
I
background from your
played,
youth?
I've always been a runner. I played junior college soccer, so not as great as a D1 soccer star, but I used to be pretty good back in the day.
Listen, Bracken is a D3 runner, and look what he's like, grown into be a Spartan superstar, one of the best
Yeah.
podcasters in our sport. Don't knock yourself.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. So this has just been a great thing to get to do on my own. I'm a personal trainer too, so it's fun to get to try all these hard workouts on people who did not sign up for it when I go to the gym. So it's been, I do love this. I'm going to be at High Rocks in Anaheim in 2 weeks. So looking forward to that too. Yeah.
I will be at High Rocks Anaheim in 2 weeks.
Oh, fun. We've got like a good group of like 50 girls going. So it's going to be a fun race, I think.
How many races are you doing?
I'm just doing the women's pro. This is only my second High Rocks. So we'll see how that goes. It's fun comparing DEKA and High Rocks together too. They feel like very different races in my head.
They are very different races, and they're two very different experiences.
Yeah. So looking forward to that, and hopefully looking forward to some resolution coming from all of this.
All right. Well, I pray the same thing.
Thank you.
Let's definitely chat at the event, though. I too will be at the Gainful High Rocks Anaheim, or High Rocks.
Are you racing, or are you gonna be just covering everything?
It's the last chance qualifier. I got to try to punch my ticket.
You got to get those elite 15.
I've been doing relays with my boys lately, my bros. I might do a doubles.
Depends
on if or a relay. It depends like how close they are, because I can't miss the action, right?
Yeah. The timing of it all.
But yeah, I think it'll be fun. But listen,
if you ever need a mixed doubles partner, let me know.
Dude, I might. If you're hanging out all day, because those are last. Those are like 6 o'clock.
Yeah, that's the long haul. But I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to me and using your platform for this, because little old me has no one following me, but there's been so much support coming out from the people who don't even know me, seeing my story and reaching out. So I really appreciate all the support.
All right, go. I wish you a pleasant ride to school. We played the Beatles' Birthday to wake up my son Jackson this morning, because he does not get out of bed. So,
that's cute.
Well, not to him. He's not thrilled. He wants to turn it off. But it's like, hey man, gotta get up. So, all right, have a great day. Have a great day.
Thank you so much. You too.